So this is Connell O'Donovan with the Utah Queer Historical Society on July 31st, 2019, and I'm here with Pepper Prespentt. So, first off, what is your full legal name in Espanol?
Juanita Erlinda Prespentt.
Wow.
Pepper.
Pepper. And what are your parents' full names?
My father was
Excuse me, before we go on. I know how to spell Juanita. Erlinda?
Erlinda.
Okay. And so your father's full name?
Patricio Jose Prespentt.
Okay. And how do you spell Prespentt?
Prespentte.
Oh,
We dropped the E because nobody can say
say
it.
it right? Okay. And your mother's full name?
Her maiden name?
Yes.
Maria Crescencia Montoya.
We're probably related. My great-grandmother is Maria Aloisa Garcia de Herrera. Your birth date?
6/24/43.
Well, you had a birthday recently.
Yes.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Where were you born?
Miami, Arizona.
What county is that?
That is 97 miles from Phoenix, 6 miles from Globe. Everybody knows where Globe is, but nobody knows.
Globe is.
Yeah.
And the county? Do you remember?
Gila.
Gila?
Gila.
Okay. I always thought it was Gila.
Gila, whatever.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. How many siblings do you have?
5.
And where are you in order?
Middle. No,
Oh.
wait. Yeah, I am in the middle.
Okay. Your oldest sibling's name?
Mary, Patsy, me, Sonny, Vincent,
Okay.
and Brenda.
And Brenda, awesome.
I also had a half brother and a half sister,
Okay.
Chris and Josie.
Prespentt also?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Have you ever been legally married?
No.
Okay. Long-term relationship? Marriage-esque?
No.
No? Okay.
No.
Any children?
Adopted son,
You have an adopted son?
Mm-hmm.
What's his name?
Glenn Ashton Prespentt,
Okay. How old is he?
48,
Where does he live?
here.
He does, okay.
He does stained glass for a living at Beehive Glass.
Oh, nice. Okay. Where did you go to high school? Where did you graduate from high school?
Bloomfield, New Mexico.
Bloomfield High?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Did you go to college?
Community college for 2 years for the phone company.
Here in Salt Lake City?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Awesome. So you got kind of an associate's degree or something?
No, heating, air conditioning. I was in the mechanical field.
Oh, awesome. Oh, great.
Yeah.
Okay. That's all I have to ask. So we've got a nice background for you, just for historical, genealogical purposes for
Okay.
the future. And then we'll shut down, let people in. I will do a little brief introduction, welcome folks. Becky will introduce you, and then we'll go from there. Okay? And if you get stuck or whatever, and
like I said,
you got a lot of notes here.
I do. I really have. I have a lot of notes.
Okay.
93, the Pillar Alternative newspaper.
I remember the Pillar.
Okay. Men's Choir, AIDS, the years.
Yeah.
I have all that.
This is more about you, not the organizations.
Wow.
Although I want to hear about the Royal Court.
Well,
because
yeah,
honestly,
because
I don't know much about.
That was a big part of
Court.
my life.
Yeah. I went to coronation 3 times in the
Yeah.
late 80s.
Because
3
when
years, but-
I came here, I'm going to say 48 years ago, from Farmington. Farmington was really different. We had
New Mexico.
no gay life. We partied at people's houses. And when I came to visit, I fell in love with Salt Lake, the mountains, and the people here. And it was different for me to be around and go to a gay bar.
Because
I never had that in New Mexico.
What was the gay bar that you... Well, no, we'll ask this later. I want to know the gay bar that you went to in the...
Conway and I try to take turns introducing our guest of the month. And normally we like to do that weird... I introduce the male, whatever that means in our community, and he gets to introduce the female, whatever that means in our community. But this time, I mean, come on. I get to talk about somebody who has been a hero of mine for so long that it's kind of terrifying to say that I've been alive this long. But Pepper, when I first started hearing about Pepper Prespentt, late 70s, and I'm being told that this woman is the first emperor of the Royal Court of the Golden Spike Empire in Utah. And I knew about the Royal Court. And my belief system, the way I have always viewed the Royal Court, worldwide, anywhere you hear about it, is this is a place where people are using their skills and they're being out of the closet and they're using money-raising skills to help people. I mean, I love telling this. People need to know that our Royal Court of the Golden Spike Empire in Utah was the sole financial supporter of Toys for Tots in the late 70s in Utah. And finally, some bigoted bitch, and I'm not going to be polite about that, did question that check that came with the initials Royal Court of the Golden Spike Empire. And she found out that it meant it was those horrible queers, those preverts that were giving money to children. And she threw a fit. And demanding they reject it. It took Rainbow Oil and the Marines to try to match what Pepper's organization had been doing by themselves for years, 4 or 5 years. As well as, if you were coming out of the closet back then, you could look in the white pages of the phone book. I know you guys don't remember you don't know about phone books. But you could look in the white pages, business pages, or the people, and it said gay helpline. It said gay helpline. And you could call up and a live person answered and they could talk to you and tell you you were okay and there was nothing wrong with you. Including so much so that they regularly receive phone calls from BYU saying, what is this phone number? Why are students on our campus calling this? We're being billed for it because it's long distance. Again, the Royal Court was paid for that number to exist. So all I can say is, every rumor I heard about Pepper, they all included that the reason why our Royal Court in Utah was so kind and so loving is because this person here was the mentor. She was passing on her leadership, her friendship, and her personality to our court. So please give her the biggest welcome you can. And throughout the speech, remember, she might be a little bit scared in the moment, but afterwards, she's going to remember you're her friends. I'm only staying here long enough as long as you think you need me. Then I'm going to the audience and listening.
You stay right here. You're not going anywhere.
You all know nobody else can do that to me.
Hi. My name is, real name, Juanita Linda Prespentt. I was born in Miami, Arizona. We moved to Farmington, New Mexico. And the gay life there was nothing. We got together at parties at our homes. And it was very hard being gay there. And I came up with a friend to visit. Fell in love with Salt Lake.
When was that?
About 48 years ago.
I'm horrible with arithmetic. What year is that? 1960.
74.
Okay.
I mean, look at my notes. I have everything.
73, 74, something like that.
73, 74. And the difference was amazing here. To come to a place where you could go and be yourself and meet people that would actually hug you and welcome you to Salt Lake City. But I was raised that way. My parents raised us to be loving and caring and always welcome people into your life. And let's see what else there. There were the bars here. What I went to were Perky's,
Where was that?
right next door to across the street from our dear old Sun.
The original stuff.
You know where the overpass was?
Yeah.
Right there.
Okay.
And then the Sun was right there, not even a half a block.
Where kind of where the old where the Vivint Center is now, right?
Right.
Uh-huh. Yes. And I'd go to those bars. And then, you know, I went to the RC. That was real scary. For me.
Oh,
It was a fun bar, you know. I met Rose Carrier there. If don't know, some of you know Rose. She's amazing, a woman, straight lady, just wonderful to us. And yeah, it was a very scary bar. And I hung out there for a few years, and then the Rusty Bell opened, and I started going to the Rusty Bell
and where was that?
on Redwood Road, where Puss in Boots used to be.
Okay. I remember Puss in Boots. Yeah.
Okay. And Mac Hunt, Paul, a few other guys opened that up. That was a great bar to go to.
It had a disco ball and it had lights under the dance floor. A
Yes.
clear circle on
Plastic.
the dance floor with Christmas lights underneath and a
It was
disco
fun.
ball.
It was fun.
Woohoo!
And then that's where my life turned around to the court. Henry came in, had been, I think, to California, and then he went to Denver, Oregon, and found out about the court. And
Henry who?
Henry Bender, Deanna, my empress,
Okay.
and came and sat by me at the bar one day, and he says, hey, listen, I have a proposition for you. And I looked at him and said, oh, really? I'm not interested. No. And he said, I want to start this organization here, and he said, give me a chance to think about it. And I finally decided, yes, I would do this. And it was the best thing I ever did in my life, because the court has been the biggest part of my life and the best thing that happened to me then. And so that's where we were born, at the Rusty Bell.
Oh.
That's where I got crowned, at the Rusty Bell. And
So there was a kind of a national royal court already in place.
oh yes, the International Court System,
Okay.
the ICC, which Mama Jose started in San Francisco.
Right.
If anybody knows, well, some of us know Mama Jose.
I do.
Yeah, and he has passed us, and now we have Nicole the Great as our Queen Mother.
So how do you go about organizing a new? How did you guys go about
Well,
organizing a new?
We met at
What's
the.
it called? Chapter or
It was a chapter.
chapter of the court?
Yeah, we met there at the Rusty Bell, and a lot of them, the founders were like Paul and Mac, and I could probably name Marty, Joni, myself, Jim Beveridge.
Earl Ashley.
Yeah, Earl Ashley. We all met in a room and we put our heads together and came up with what we wanted to do.
There was kind of a structure from the International Court, the notion of having the emperor and empresses.
Yeah, we were we were called the Imperial Court of the Wasatch Empire of Utah. That's how we started. And then we kind of dissolved it. We had some problems, and well, I'm not going to go into that. We dissolved it, and then we all walked out, resigned and walked out. And we got together in another place, and we started another chapter.
When was that? Soon after.
77.
77.
1976.
And
So it was founded in 76?
yes,
The Wasatch?
yes,
Okay, so
Yes.
a year later, you're now becoming.
the Imperial Court of the Golden Spike Empire.
Okay.
The Royal Court of the Golden Spike Empire.
Okay.
Okay, see, I knew I need my notes. I was in office for 14 months because we had to get it all together and whatever. And I was sad when I stepped down. It was the hardest thing for me to do because this meant a lot to me. My community meant the world to me because if it wouldn't have been for them, we wouldn't have been here. The community is very, very dear to my heart.
I have my power.
And so that's how we started.
Okay, have a good night.
So it was founded 2 of 76 and went till 5 of 77 when I stepped down. That year we all went up to Denver. We had the biggest, that's when we had the biggest showing in Denver, was that year.
Every member.
Every member,
got
we all
together
went.
to go to Denver.
We carpooled up there. It was amazing. It was
About how
amazing.
many people were?
Oh, I don't know. It was a lot.
40-something.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry for interrupting, and but
No,
because
go ahead.
I'm kind of a noob to all the court stuff. I know a little bit about it, but so I'm gonna especially ask for clarification on things.
Sure, go ahead. Anything.
So what is the purpose of the Royal Court?
Well, when we first started, it was the first social organization in Utah. And we thank Joe Redburn for always supporting us and letting us do our functions there. We do
At the
scholar.
Sun?
Yes, at the Sun and at the Rusty Bell as well.
Did he own the Rusty Bell too?
No.
Oh, okay.
We raise money, scholarship money. We have a People's Concern Fund. We have a trans fund. We have an AIDS fund, regular cancer fund.
God, I need help fund.
Help me, my daughter.
We have the scholarship fund, like you said, the cancer fund, the trans fund, the AIDS fund, the Felicia Young Adult Fund,
And now we have a diabetic
and now
fund.
now there is a proposed diabetes fund.
We have a
so-
trans, yeah.
What's the trans fund for?
To help the kids that can't help them to kind of with their surgery
Transition, okay.
to transition
Also legal stuff.
and their legal stuff.
That's awesome.
So that's what we do with the Royal Court.
Okay.
We started out doing Toys for Tots. We did that for many, many years. That was fun. That was fun to give presents to kids and stuff. Shirley was our Santa Claus.
Oh my.
But it's kind of, it revolves around kind of drag culture?
Yes,
Okay.
we do the shows like we do now, the drag shows and stuff. But of course, we did the court carnival. We did a lot of good stuff coming up. And we used to go Christmas caroling at the older people's home, like Shady Pines. Joke with Dave. And we'd go to Shriners Hospital. My Empress would dress as a clown and we'd go up to Shriners Hospital. She was amazing. She was the most amazing Empress ever.
Can we ask questions?
Yeah, good. Yeah, I mean, it's open to.
I would be interested in hearing what your first coronation night was like. Did you have any fun anecdotes of what the party was like and what people did, the lip syncs that were had, the hair that was worn, all of that stuff?
It was really a lot of fun. We had it down at the hotel across from the Salt Palace.
This is 76,
Yes.
right? Okay.
77.
Oh, so reception.
No, my coronation was at the Rusty Bell.
And what did you guys do that night? How did the party?
Well, we partied. They did a lot of drag and partied, and I was crowned by Empress 2 of Denver, Scotty Carlisle, and I'm very proud of that. And I still, to this day, she's still my friend. He's still my friend. It was really a lot of fun. That was so much fun. And let's see, then we had, hospitality was at the hotel. What was the name of that hotel? The only way I can remember it was when that lady dropped her kids off.
Oh, the Shiloh.
But it wasn't called the Shiloh then.
Right.
This was way back.
The drop site.
The dewdrop in.
Yeah. Anyway, that's where it was at, and my Empress and I decided that we were having nothing but champagne. So that's what we served at our hospitality, was champagne. And I got drunk that day. Ask Lynn.
Vague recollection,
I
since I was drinking champagne also.
woke up and I said, "Am I late? Am I late?" And she goes, "No."
What is hospitality? What do you?
Oh, you know, haven't you ever been to hospitality here? It's a.
Oh, yeah, you've got to come.
The chef.
We, hospitality, we have a room for hospitality that for our out-of-town guests and in-town guests.
Oh, it's a hotel room for.
Yeah, and we have booze and food to thank the community and the out-of-town people for being here.
Spring break.
It's really, it's a party. It's a big party.
I love it.
It's really fun. It's really fun.
So I'm going to ask you another question. Women participating in
Yes, 36.
36
the court. So do you do drag, the women, like as drag kings, or?
I'm gonna get there.
Oh, okay.
Back in those days, the women, there were so many women in the court. It was unbelievable. Not so much now, but it was probably half and half then.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, we had a lot and a lot of the women were in office. And Lynn and I did a show, and it was called The Leaping Lesbians. And we did it at the In-Between, didn't we, Lynn?
We did it somewhere.
It was that
Oh,
fun.
at the Uptown.
The Uptown.
At the Uptown Bar. And that was,
Is that a
next to
queer
the-
bar?
yes, it was a
Girls'
woman's
bar.
bar. Right next to the
Burpees was the
sun.
girls' bar that you talked about before. And then the Uptown, then the Sisters was next to the Old Sun, and that was Nikki Boyer's first bar.
And the
so
rail
there
was
were-
next
there
to
were-
there too.
There were a lot of times there'd be, at one point there was 8 gay bars in Salt Lake at once in about 1978. Many more than now. I mean, it's kind of weird. Now there's triangles and
Sun
the
Trap.
Sun Trap, and that's it.
So,
Well, and then there's other one night a week deals, but
Yeah.
they're sort of.
so Pepper, if you don't mind, I know from my stint in Washington, both the lesbians and the gay men and drag queens dealt with a lot organizing their chapters in the 70s.
Yes, we did.
To the point where lesbians would have to try and shield their drag queen companions as officers stopped them and made them take off female clothing. What was that like, starting an organization like that?
At first, maybe the first couple of years was hard, but then it was okay. Then it started. But yeah, we protected each other. And that's what I liked about Salt Lake is there's never been a separation of men and women here.
Yeah.
And other courts, when they'd come here, were very, very jealous of us. How do you do that? We're gay. We're one. We're a family.
Yeah.
There's no separation here. There's no separation here whatsoever. And that's what I liked about us.
Pepper, wasn't that to protect yourself from the community, the larger community? To keep together, to protect yourself? Or what?
No, not really. We're just a family, and we're proud of that.
I'm
No.
gonna speak to that. I really felt, I moved here from New York, so this was like very strange, but, the thing was that I felt like Salt Lake is such a family-oriented place, and so many of the people that went to the bars, it was because they couldn't go home anymore. Many of them had been kicked out of their homes,
Right.
didn't have anywhere else to go, so they went to the sinful bar, you know. And so you stuck together with people that didn't look down on you for who you wanted to be. And it wasn't just your sexuality, it was your whole attitude toward life that was no longer in the shadow of the temple.
Right.
That was as big an issue as it is today.
That's what I was aiming.
Yeah.
Actually, one of the biggest socioeconomic reasons that Salt Lake City, that the men and women, the gays and lesbians get along, has to do with the LDS Church, but it's not common enemy, it's common language.
Right, exactly.
We're able to organize because we recognize organizing language, and we don't hear it as insults. So we have to give our thanks to the group that was our nemesis.
Right, right.
You know, along that same line, our earliest coronations were works of art. The sets for those early coronations were amazing. And it was because we had all these people that had been doing road shows up since they were 4.
Mormon road shows.
People like Larry White, who was an MC and also did our music, he learned all of his skills at the Ward House and went, okay, here's a better place to do these things.
Right.
And there was a lot of that. I mean, there were skills, like you said, Becky, organizing skills.
Yep.
Yeah.
That people came equipped with that a normally paranoid, shy, retiring gay kid is not going to have. But they've been being forced to speak in front of people since they were 3, so
Yep. We made our own sets in those days.
incredible.
And incredible sets. And it wasn't just 3 or 4 people. It was 20 people in a room. They almost paper mache'd me to the showboat. They were being funny because we drank beer while we were doing it. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. When Connell asked me to say about my life, I told him the court is my life. So that's why I'm talking about my life here.
Yeah.
How'd you get the name Pepper?
How did I get to Utah?
No, how'd you get the name Pepper?
Past girlfriend gave me that name because I was Hispanic and I made good Mexican food. And she
She
thought I was
still is Hispanic, and she still makes good.
and she thought I was a hot pepper. Her name was Terry Pittard. So, I can tell you a lot of things that started in my life. I mean, things in this community that started. One of our empresses, Lois Lane, started the first newspaper. It was called The Planet, because Lois Lane.
The Daily Planet.
So, and that was in 77. So, you know, that was something that we did. That was pretty amazing to me. And then we had our first protest in 1977, Anita Bryant. You remember that? Who remembers that?
I remember it, but
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Tell us about the protest. I mean, I know about it, but
I don't know.
Well,
What did that look like in Utah?
how
That
did
was
that look
at the
in Utah?
fairgrounds.
Yeah. I was at the fairgrounds, yeah. And I think we had a pretty good group. I didn't think she liked it very much. She left town. we ran her out of town. But, you know, we were protesting her, condemning us.
yeah, the Save the Children campaign.
Ah.
Yeah.
We're not after your children, lady. So we did that. I thought that was pretty
Who
amazing.
organized that?
Shoot. There was a handful of people. Joe
Redburn.
Redburn.
Mac Hunt.
Mac, weren't you involved in that, Becky?
I just appeared.
Because I just appeared too.
A lot of things got organized around bars then because that was the meeting place. People knew each other from there. And so, you know, after a few shots of whatever, you can plan just about anything.
Yeah.
It's reasonable.
And I was too young to go. Okay, Nikki Boyer was still keeping me out of the bars because I didn't have legal ID yet.
Nicky.
Really, yeah. And then in 1978, we founded the UGRA, the first rodeo association.
Did they have horses?
Yes, we did.
Okay.
Those guys did. The Golden Spike Gay Rodeo Association.
Yeah,
A lot of those
we
guys
did.
had horses.
They did have horses.
We did, and that was amazing. That was amazing. It was just too much for the court to handle, so we kind of drifted away from that. Let's see, and then in 79, oh no, you know what? In 79, we reorganized and became this RCGSC. I had to come down a little bit on my paperwork. And also in 79 was our first political organization, Utah Stonewall Club establishment at Club Comeback. That's where they got together to establish it.
Where was that club?
On 3rd
Walk away
West
from the
and
Second South and Fifth.
oh yeah,
So is that where the in-between's at? Or was at?
Was that, yeah. Oh, wait a minute, no, the comeback. That was
Fifth-
what, I
Fifth
think,
West,
wasn't
that'd
that
be
the,
one
I was
block
gonna
east
say,
of the
wasn't that the
in-between.
one where Mischievous ended up? Wasn't that where the comeback was?
Chuck?
Was it on Third West and
3rd
7th
West.
South?
I think so.
7th, 8th
Where
South?
Mischievous
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
Next one was the comeback, right.
Yeah.
Deer Hunter was down on.
Yeah, I
Third
was
West
right.
and
Deer
Seventh
Hunter was
South.
Third West.
Yeah.
Or no, 10th. Ninth South.
Yeah, Deer Hunter was
Over
the
where
other
Cahoon-
side of the road than the comeback.
Over where Cahoots is, not
Pardon?
Mischievous.
Mischievous is.
That's where the comeback was.
Yeah.
Yeah, east
So
side of the road.
what's the address now for the comeback?
Fifth West.
Fifth West.
And about.
Just before the
Mischievous.
overpass.
Somebody Google
That's
Mischievous.
Third West.
Third West.
Mischievous is on
Third
Third West.
Third
Third
West,
West,
750-ish south.
Okay, it's on Third West and 750.
50th. Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
East side of
For
the
the
road.
record.
for the record. Got that?
On the east side of the street.
And then again in 79, we welcomed 3 of our churches. The MCC Church, Affirmation, and Integrity. Started in 79.
There were 3 religious organizations for.
So that was pretty neat that we had that start here in Utah.
What was your feeling of those starting up? Being
I loved it.
Latin and
And Catholic.
Very Catholic.
I thought it was really great. I did go to the MCC church.
You didn't
Bruce-
attend Integrity?
No.
Okay. Because
Uh,
that's Catholic, right?
pardon me?
Isn't that the Catholic organization?
Kinda, yeah.
Okay. But that didn't appeal to you?
No. Well, I didn't go to church a lot. I did when I was in New Mexico because my parents made us go. They took us.
But you went to MCC.
Well, it wasn't like they were particularly welcoming, as I continued to remind her.
Yeah. Dave?
I want to make a comment about the MCC Church. For those of us back in the 80s, that was really the godsend, I think, for a lot
Yes.
of us. When we talk about the AIDS epidemic, it was the MCC Church that I believe saved a lot of us. It gave us an outlet to go to. They were the ones who focused on us
Right.
then.
Yes.
And you weren't pariahs, that was the whole thing. I mean, most places, they were afraid to, let you in the hospital. I mean, hospitals refused to even treat people. I remember when that one weird place across from St. Mark's,
Oh, that old
I
retirement.
can't remember what it was called. But anyway, they had an AIDS wing there, and staff at the place didn't want to work on, it was like, I'm going to quit if you make me work on that ward, and I mean, it was up front hostility.
She's talking about the original St. Mark's Hospital.
Yeah, the other, yeah, Holy Cross.
No, I'm talking about where St. Mark's Hospital is to this day, Doxy Hatch.
Oh, Doxy Hatch.
Oh,
Doxy Hatch was right across the street.
Okay.
Yeah, that was not.
Anyway,
Anyway, also in 79, in July of 1979, we did our, Joe Redburn and Bob Stevens did our first kegger, was held at City Creek Canyon. We used to have keggers up there.
For Pride.
Some of
right?
you have been there.
For Pride.
It's fun. They were fun. They were fun keggers.
Well, you had to park forever and walk forever.
You had to get there
I
earlier.
swear, by the time if you went drinking at the kegger, and by the time you got back to your car, you were sober.
Yeah.
That
yeah.
was the point.
I heard you say, oh, that was the first Pride, and we think of it that way, but I remember we were honoring Joe Redburn at one of the
Yeah.
coming out days or something, and Nikki Boyer said, yeah, we had early Pride. Of course, we didn't call it Pride then, we just called it a kegger.
Yeah.
Which was really, I mean,
Lots of
you don't
fun.
think in terms of you're making history or you're paving, no, you're just living your life.
It was also barbecue. We had food, so and socialized. It was a lot of fun. And then if you ran into Frank McPhail, you'd hid your face because we'd tell him to put his clothes on
Oh.
if anybody knew him.
No, yeah, you have to explain.
He always took his clothes off.
Because like Nikki always bared her breasts. If you hadn't seen Nikki's breasts, you weren't gay.
Guess I'm not gay.
And in June of 1979, the court, Carol Martindale, our empress, straight empress, and Weldon Young started the court campout. So fun.
Big parties.
Where was that?
And you went to
The Uentas. They'd bring a generator and they'd do movies at night. And they'd get up every morning. They'd make breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and you'd pay, what was it, $20 or $25 for the weekend?
The best year was the Champagne Fountain year.
Yeah.
The Champagne Fountain. So we're in the middle of absolutely nowhere. It's not even a regular campground. We've got the screen up and the generator so we can watch movies. Then we have a line running over to run the electric champagne fountain. So, and then we had the campsite contest, which was who could make the best front yard for your campsite. And people brought things like little picket fences to put in front. It was hilarious.
And you had to name your tent,
Yeah.
your site.
What was yours named?
What did we name it? I can't remember. It was too long ago.
Were you partners at the time?
We were.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
We were together 8 years.
Okay.
So that was a fun thing to do. Another thing Bob Stevens did was he started our poker run. That was fun. They'd go and they'd put place and they give you a map and you'd have to go get your card and sit who'd come back with the best hand or whatever. And he also
Some motorcycles.
yeah.
Oh, wow, okay.
And he also started the
Hopefully not drinking.
Oh,
No.
of course not. We would never.
and him,
So
I
Pepper,
drank a lot then.
we know you were a party animal during this time.
yes I was.
What kind of things were you carrying on with these different keggers and poker runs and
Not
stuff?
much. I was still kind of blah, but I was having fun. I know I don't drink a lot anymore. And also,
Move right on.
Yep.
also Bob Stevens and Joe Redburn started the volleyball team here, and we compete against other bars and teams here in Salt Lake, and we competed against Denver. And they'd come down and play against us, and we go to Denver and play against them and see who would win the championship. We won.
What position did you play?
Oh no, I didn't play. I watched.
Oh, okay.
Cheer.
The boys were
You're the
too, the
cheerleader.
boys were too rough. And then in 1980, sadly, the AIDS epidemic changed everything for us. Changed our lives completely. That was very hard. It was very hard on everybody. I lost my very, very best friend, Leonard. He was my boyfriend. They call me girlfriend. We did everything together.
What's his last name?
Frost.
When did he die?
That's your name's like.
Well, he lived with us for 15 years. So, and that's when Emperor Scott Stites started the AIDS Foundation, for PWA, where we raise money for people with AIDS, and that's when we stopped doing Toys for Tots. So we had to change our fund. And I think that was very hard for everyone.
But there was such a huge need
For us
for
to be.
money for people with AIDS. I mean, there was like nothing in place.
Yeah, the state would do. Even
No,
when,
They would
no.
not
even when they
no.
got federal funds, they wouldn't distribute
No.
them and use them.
So it's like, well,
They
it's
would
nice
come
give
to
toys
us.
to kids, but you know, there are more pressing needs.
Kevin?
The PWA fund, was that separate than the PWA Christmas fund, or were they all?
It's all together. Well, we have an AIDS fund and a PWA fund. The AIDS fund is used for, like if they need help with their utilities or a doctor bill or something. A little short on their rent, we help them there. The PWA is for Christmas, that we give them $100 so they can shop for their family or a dinner.
And Pepper, when that started, wasn't it just, you guys wouldn't just give money, you'd show up to houses and make them dinner if they needed it?
If they needed it, that was, yeah,
That was part of it.
whatever they needed, we were there.
I've heard many stories of you guys showing up to deliver money and even cleaning a house for somebody.
Whatever they needed, we were there.
And no bias, and that people
Correct.
that they helped didn't have to be gay, they didn't have to be. They surprised my sister and my nephew so many times. Thank you.
That was our big one then. And that year that's when we started the gay and lesbian community open, the phone line. That's when that started.
The Gay Hope Line saved many, many, many lives.
What did it take for you guys to get that started?
Huh?
What did that take to get that started in a state like
A
this?
phone line, a place to put the phone in and go and man the phones.
And where was
We didn't
that?
exactly. say
That
to
was
the phone
on-
company, "Oh, we wanna
That
create a
was
gay
also,
helpline."
on 3rd and close to where the Pride Center, the old Pride Center was.
Where
In that same area, 3rd.
The Ruby Snap cookie company.
Wasn't it at Artworks for something, or was it before that?
No, it wasn't at Artworks.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, and then when you could forward phone numbers, they would forward it
To
to,
man the lines.
and it was mostly men answering the number, and they would get some calls from women, so they reached out to me and to another woman, and they would give our personal phone numbers to the women who were calling.
Bless your heart.
The guy made it safe before my number was given out.
Right.
Yeah.
We did anything we could to help, that's what we were here for. That's what we started this organization for. And then, here we are, 1983. Miss Becky Moss. KRCL Radio.
Concerning gays and lesbians. It was called Concerning Gays. Then you got stuck with me in '81, and I added the word lesbian. That evil, evil word.
That was astonishing. People, when you think about radio stations in this part of the country, KRCL was such a breath of fresh air anyway as a community radio. It had an entirely different.
Well, wasn't it 1983 when I first got to interview you or somebody from the court?
I think I can't even remember who you interviewed, but I know you interviewed somebody.
Yeah. I think it was because I started in November of '81.
Maybe Marty.
And then in '83, I finally got to interview somebody from the Royal Court.
Marie Gale.
Yeah, Marie Gale.
Marie Gale.
And Joe Redburn was at
We made him go.
KRCL,
Joe was
Loves
on,
it.
he was AM and I was FM. I always told him I had the FM
and
voice.
Michael.
Michael Spence.
No, Michael, the other announcer.
Michael Cavanaugh. Michael
Cavanaugh.
That would have been also the AM station. I can't remember what
That
that
was the AM station.
He had a great voice.
Yeah.
Oh, just love that.
But I was
man.
FM.
Did you have a co-host, Becky, or was it just you?
Oh no, we'll go into mine. There was a lot of different co-hosts, but these guys, they had a lot, they did live radio and AM station.
Who's they?
AM was originally thought to be the powerful station, and then FM was brought in as this affair, but it quickly switched, that FM became the popular station on your nation, and you still have AM, FM guide things, but they had a smaller area, and
FM towers are taller, so they go.
we had so you could hear my program in Wyoming and southern Utah, where you can hear them
In Murray.
in Murray. That's a good way to describe it. Thank you, but there were a lot more stations. But yeah, they did the live, and they invited me to come do it with them, and they got paid where I was, or they supposedly got paid, where I was 100% volunteer. And they have commercials, and we didn't have commercials. We're community, whatever. We'll go into my story later. That one is, but yeah, interviewing the
it was
Royal
part
Court.
Of, yeah, it was part of my
And
history.
I had to have approval from the board of the Royal Court before I could bring them onto the radio program with me. And once we did, then after that,
We're okay.
Couldn't get rid of us.
didn't want to. Because we talked about people with AIDS and the funding that was needed, and I got to talk an awful lot about, and I dug into and found history on the Royal Court, and that's because I am such a big fan of the Royal Court.
Well, and at that time, we were about the only ones doing these events to allow people to come in and be with people not at bars or at bars, you know, an entree to that side of life too.
And the Royal Court
So
was the
we
one
gave
that,
you a lot of material to make announcements on, filled your minutes.
yeah. And the Royal Court was the one that was constantly pushing and reminding people you had to come up with stuff that was for the kids under 21. Because the court was based in the bars, and they were the ones that say, are you going to make that open to people under 21? Are you going to make it to the youth? Are you going to make sure it's alcohol free? That was the Royal Court.
Yep. In '88, the men's choir started.
Oh, yeah. Still around.
Still around. Also, was the first AIDS walk. People. 1993, have you guys heard of the Pillar Alternative newspaper?
Yeah.
And I think that was run by women.
Yeah. There was some back of, yeah.
Well, wasn't,
That we read.
Wasn't Pillar an old, it was either an organization or a book in like the 40s? Not
I know there's something that's triggering, but I don't remember. But yeah, I know that it was a takeoff on something that existed. Yeah. But I think it became, the Pillar, it changed its name again, but it became a blend of men and women doing the newsletter. But years before that, we'd had the Open Door, and then this one.
The Open Door, yeah. Yeah, I have some of those.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or some book or something.
Yeah.
That's where they got the name for it.
Looked like,
In 1995, the Utah AIDS Quilt Project started. Tina Marie Nelson, now, what's her husband's name? Schuler.
Scuderi.
Schuler?
Scuderi.
Scary.
Worked on that project.
First
I was
floor
very,
panel,
yeah.
it's big display.
Every panel was the size of a grave.
Mm-hmm.
6 feet by 3.5 or whatever.
Boyfriends with flamingos and flowers because that's what he liked.
Mm-hmm. Peggy and Chance's are the width of 2 graves.
1998. We witnessed the death of Matthew Shepard in Laramie. Very, very hard for a young man to be tortured like that. I won't go anymore because a lot of memories there.
The Royal Court. We gathered the night that we heard about it
raised
happening.
money.
We gathered up in front of the cathedral when he was still alive. And the court, and some of the queens came in full drag in the candlelight. And then when he died, the court worked to raise money to help out.
We helped the family.
Pepper, how has that influenced how you help the youth nowadays?
I've always felt that we had to help the youth and everyone. But I've noticed the youth, they don't come to us as much. I wish they would. That's what we're here for. Maybe we better open up our door a little more for them.
Thank you.
Let's see. What was the GNL PAC rally? Don't forget equality,
It was a
1999.
rally at the State House.
And it was at the Utah State Capitol. Jackie and Rocky were both there. Speakers were there that year.
Rocky Anderson
Mm-hmm.
and Jackie Biskupski.
Uh-huh. Also, on March of 1999, Dr. Kristen Reese got Doctor of the Year, and it was presented by Governor Mike Leavitt to her.
This is the Utah Medical Association. That was like a big deal.
Big one.
She was the only doctor that would treat HIV
Right.
patients for years,
But
right?
for the
Yeah,
state
yeah.
organization to recognize it was amazing.
She was recognized nationwide for being one of the first
Yes,
doctors to reach
now,
out
yes,
lovingly
yeah.
to. But in Utah, there were a lot of doctors who, when she was doing that, who would not have anything to do with her.
And
Thank the nuns.
unfortunately, there are still some doctors who won't.
Oh yeah,
No, they won't.
but the nuns made a place available too. So the friendship you see with Dr. Reese and Maggie when they're hanging out with those nuns, they're not hanging out with old lesbians, they're hanging out with old nuns.
Yeah.
They look alike, but you know.
Yeah.
Under
Some
the
of
cowl,
them
they
are
still.
Yeah.
Becky.
In 1999, Jeff Friedman organized the Ogden Court. Am I right? I was trying to count.
Yes.
It was the barony first,
Yes.
Yeah, the
and
barony.
then it became the court of whatever they are, the Imperial Court.
Imperial Court of-
It's
Imperial
too
Rainbow Court of Northern Utah.
really
Yeah,
long.
Rainbow.
Yeah, and Jeff Friedman did that.
We hope to have Jeff here day before Halloween for the October.
Oh, I'll have to be here.
I hope.
So is that kind of a sticky issue that there are two
Oh
courts in the
no,
state?
they're our
no.
daughter court.
Yeah.
They're our daughter court.
They were our barony first.
Yeah.
and
We
then
organized
enough
that
people to
court.
have their own organization.
Wonderful.
somewhere.
That Ogden people don't have to walk around to Salt Lake. They have their own. They've got their own
Right,
amazing.
right.
They're actually
No
quite
idea.
amazing.
They are amazing. They're an amazing organization.
I still think the best pasta I've ever eaten has been up at the Rainbow gatherings.
I probably made it.
I worry about the food.
And I was trying to remember, and I asked Chuck, and this is about the AIDS flag, and when I know it was made at our Emperor Bruce Barton and Reverend Bruce's house across from Liberty Park.
You mean the rainbow
The,
flag?
the first
We
huge
made
rainbow
the
flag
first flag,
for Utah. The one for the.
and it'd go outside, way outside their door.
Yeah.
They did it.
And I would like to know if anybody knows or can get me any information where that flag is.
It was, the last I heard about that particular flag, is it had been stored badly, and it was moss or moldy and stuff, and that somebody who found it didn't know what it was, and they tossed it. And I heard about that long after it happened, or
I
else
heard
I
that the piece was cut off of it and was donated to one of the old iterations of the Pride Center, and then they threw it away, that piece away.
That's sad.
But-
That's really sad.
If I can say something, I was standing next to you in 1997 that morning when that flag came down the hill, and watched the tears roll. That was my first memory of you, and it's something.
he
I
was
cherish.
4 years old.
I was the president of the youth group at the time. It was 97.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and so I just
Yeah,
stood there
it was,
involved with you.
When people started throwing money into that flag,
We had no idea what was going to happen.
I had no clue, and watching that money go in ever since
Yeah,
then.
yeah.
We didn't know what to do with it when we brought it into the park. We were like,
Yeah.
what do we do with this money?
To this day,
That's basically what kept Pride Day free for as long as it did, was
Yeah.
the money that went on that flag.
yeah,
So Pepper,
Yeah.
I would find $10 bills wrapped around silver dollars and
so
thrown
that
into
they had to
that
wait.
to
Yeah.
weight it down and stuff. I mean, if people spontaneously did this.
What was yours in the court's influence with starting? Because I know you had an influence in starting Pride Centers of Utah.
The first Pride,
Center, yeah. Or festival.
the festival, it was just, go ahead.
I was gonna say, the first Pride gatherings happened before
Right.
there were any parades.
We were
Keggers,
gatherings,
The keggers, but then at Fairmont
park.
that was, we sort of remember that as the first one. I think that was 1974, and I think that's what the Pride Center recognizes as the first.
The
year,
first
too.
one.
Then the next year was up at Sunnyside Park, and what I remember best from that was the cops coming and telling people that they were out of line or they were being, I don't know, too rowdy or whatever, for no apparent reason. They just handed
We're
out
just having
tickets.
fun.
And we all went to court together, and they sort of arraigned us all at once and looked very embarrassed and said, just be a little quieter about this next time, and we all left.
Really, you're caught talking to gay people.
They just quite didn't know, especially when we all showed up at court at the same time. And Pepper and a couple of other people were wearing shorts, and the judge said, "You cannot appear in court in shorts." And everybody else sort of tried to cover them, to pretend they weren't wearing shorts. So you guys had to leave and come back at a separate time. But you know what, if that's the worst harassment, we just sort of laughed about it.
Yeah, yeah. So by the 2000, the gay and lesbian movement had made its stride in Salt Lake City. That is my life.
You're still involved in the court actively?
I've been involved since it started, day one. I have not missed one day.
Are you on a board, or
I am the registered agent on the board.
what does that mean?
She owns us.
I have
She
to.
was she was recognized a year and a half ago by the International
Court system.
Court System, and your title from the International
I
Court System
am
is?
King Father for Life of all of Utah.
Wow.
And Marita Gale is Queen Mother for Life of all of Utah.
Recognized as founders of our organization in Utah.
And we were the founders. We're known as also the founders of the Royal Court. Basically, my job is make sure that all the titles are registered. And I'm in charge of the bank account. Well, I'm on the bank account, so when they come, I put the new people on the accounts.
It's a 501 or 401c3, so there's all
501.
501c3. Excuse me.
Okay.
Protected and watched.
So
Kevin?
that's-
One of the things, though, as a community member, is I know from the history that I have is how much influence the emperors and empresses had in starting many of the organizations, or the seed for the organizations that we have today, from our softball to our community center to many of the other things. It was an emperor or empress whose idea came up with that. Whether or not they were able to carry through with it or not, that's neither here nor there in my mind, but the idea came from court members, and that's what I appreciate so much about the court and what they've done for me.
Dave?
When Pepper makes the comment that she's been with this from the very beginning, keep in mind now that we are in our 44th year. So she's been part of this 44 years now. And
She's
so-
only 37.
Right.
That makes sense.
I think I was 25 when I was emperor.
So, Pepper, I'm gonna try and not cry
Okay.
and ask and say this. Thank you for your influence for the youth of our community. Because of people like you, spawned people like Empress 25 Felicia, that
Right.
when I was homeless, fed me hot meals. And when I was homeless when I was a child. And then getting involved in the court system and learning there is a safe space for us all. No matter your age or gender or what you associate with. But then you welcoming me into your home and seeing over the years of all the people's lives that you've touched doing it. I thank you.
You're welcome.
And my question is 40 years later, how is it that you are still going and mentoring youth? Because I've seen you talking to our youth title holders and the youth of our community and still opening your arms. How are you still doing it?
Because I love it. I love what I do. I love the organization. And like I said, I love the community. And they need somebody in their life to lead them in the right direction. That's why I do it. And yes, my door was an open door many years ago when AIDS, for a lot of my friends, needed a place to stay. I fed them, I clothed them, I gave them money, a roof over their head, until they got on their feet. Yeah, I took care of a lot of people in my home. That was my job. That was what my parents raised me to do, is to take care of people.
And I don't know if people understand the Prespentt name internationally is known as that family, known as those arms, because people like Linda saved my life, influence in this community. She taught me because in my generation is when the divide between the gays and the lesbians seemed to start in my generation. And Pepper is one that always influenced me when I started getting involved at just barely 18 of who cares? Who cares if you're a man? Who cares if you're a woman? Who cares what label there is? We're one community.
I care about everybody. That's why I always hug everybody and tell them I love them. That's very important to do. And I've always told you guys that. When you hug somebody, you tell them you love them. Because they need to hear that. And they're needed. Always remember that. That was in my head from a child. And I have to say, looking at Sue, I met my first two. They weren't trans. All the names are different now. I met them in the 70s. They were standing in a corner at the bar, scared, just really scared. I went up to them and I introduced myself and they introduced themselves. I gave them a hug and they said, "Oh, we're scared." I said, "Don't be afraid." "Well, they don't like us." And I said, "How do you know they don't like you?" "I like you. I'll introduce you, come on." And I went and I introduced them to my friends. Everybody needs to be loved no matter what you are or what you want to be. Be proud of what you are and what you want to be. You want to change your life, change it. Just be proud of yourself. That's what I have to say about that.
When you weren't running royal courts and taking in wayward children, did you have a career, a day job?
A what?
A day job?
Yes, I did.
What did you do?
I worked for the phone company,
Oh, you did?
38 years.
Doing what?
I was in the mechanical field. I did heating, air conditioning, backup power, motors, anything that broke,
So you
I
worked within the
fixed.
building itself?
Huh?
You worked within the building itself?
Yes,
All the buildings,
all the buildings downtown.
4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, I get up at 4. I get up at 4.
That's all you remember.
Yeah, she was there with me.
I have to say, my husband said that when he did your eyes, you told him that if we needed something fixed at our house, you could do it for us.
Yeah.
So
But
where do you see yourself going?
going from here, doing what I'm doing and doing it better. I want to do things better. I know that there's more people out there that need help and need love. But I'm not going to open my door this time. I'm a little old to be doing that now. You know, I have to take care of myself now. I'm just, I'm glad that I have my friend Lynn, because I'm going through a little hard time right now with my sister. She got cancer and it's not curable. And she's moving, and that's hurting. It's breaking my heart. Has to move to Mesquite so she can breathe, so she's not on oxygen all the time. And there's nothing I can do for her, and that breaks my heart. Because she's my whole life. If anything happens to her, I don't know what I'm going to do. That's when I'm going to need my family. I know I have a best friend.
Oh, these people will know about it, believe me.
I know I have my best friend Lynn. I was there for her when she lost her partner. I was her strength. But that's why you need to be there for your friends. Don't ever turn your back on them. It's very important. Do you have any more questions for me?
I'm gonna say one more thing.
Yes, ma'am.
So over the years, I'd get a lot of phone calls like Pepper does, and so they'd be telling me somebody was in trouble and needed this or that. If I couldn't cover it myself, I made a phone call to somebody at the court. And a month or 6 weeks later, whatever, I'd find out that not only had that person, that immediate trouble was taken, their phone was back on, their gas bills were paid, I'd also find out that they had a job. That was the royal court. That's our royal court in Utah, because it's based and comes from people like Pepper and their hearts. So thank you.
You're welcome. So if you need any help, we're on the website. And I do have Facebook, Pepper Prespentt. Hit me up and I'll be there for you. Okay?
I just want to tell you, Pepper, that I admire you and I love you.
Thank you, Dave.
I've appreciated so very much the many years that we've got as part of our friendship.
Thank you.
And we're glad you're back.
Thank you.
Let's give Pepper a huge round of applause. I am so glad you came and spoke, and what a delightful person you are. We just met at Pride this
Yes.
year, and wow. Thank you for your amazing message of love. And really, that's what our community is about and should be about, and we
That's
need
right.
to remind each other about the supremacy of love in all of this. And I love that you tell your friends that you love them. That's a important part of my spiritual practice, is to, when I talk on the phone to a friend,
I love him.
I say I love, and I don't say love you. I say I love you. I always include, because that love you, that's kind of, I think that's cheating a little bit. But to say I love you,
Ah.
it's important.
It is.
really.
It makes my heart feel good.
Yeah. So, and thank you for all you've done for our community, for our youth, for the court system, for everything. We're not worthy. Did you?
You didn't do the general auditor questioning to start with.
We do that privately now. We did that before.
Now, okay, well, it didn't explain that.
Because I kept teasing about we now had access to their checking accounts because we had.
Don't want that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Come back next month to hear about the amazing activism and crazy wild life of our very own Princess Kennedy, who has a salon at the public library. You know that those. And
Oh, I know where's that, yeah.
She does amazing things there for our community and fundraising and all kinds of stuff. So, yes.
I'd also like to say thank you so much for doing an oral.
Yes, thank you.
Exactly.
I mean, really, you know, that's one of those things that gets talked about but doesn't always get done, so, right on.
So
Thank you, Lynn.
So thank you, Carl
know, I
and
know.
Becky. Thank you so much for asking me to be here.
Thank you.
But-
Thank you.
I can tell you
From you.
Absolutely.
All right.